I feel like mindfulness is extremely misunderstood. Even for me, look, I'm a Christian, and I'm like, I don't do none of that. It sounds like voodoo at first, and I'll like admit it. I didn't do it at first because I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
But I think, can you like just explain to people like what mindfulness is and like how it's different from religion and spirituality?
Yeah, mindfulness training is working on the computer that's in your skull.
Mm.
It's more science than religion. It's like working on your muscles, or working on your heart, or working on your feet.
Whoa, wait, that's a good way to put it. Like, it's like a brain exercise. You're like working on.
It's brain training.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what it is. And it's inward.
Mm-hmm.
It's inward. Religion is outward.
Yeah.
Religion is going this way towards God.
Mm-hmm.
It's going this way towards Jesus, towards Muhammad, towards whoever, whatever it is that you're into. Mindfulness training is going inward, because that's the only way to find inner peace, is to go inward and figure out this computer.
Yeah.
It's computer training, Now, it's spiritual in the sense that you're divinely designed.
Yeah.
Just like your body knows how to heal, you're divinely designed to have thoughts. That's what makes you different than a deer or a turtle, right?
Yeah.
But these thoughts can be very destructive. And if we don't get a hold of them, you're in for a potential bad life. Because thoughts technically aren't real.
Yeah.
They're illusions. And they can become delusions. And you can get stuck in your head. That could produce anxiety, depression. It could even lead to something like schizophrenia if you're low in nutrition, If the mindfulness isn't there and then the nutrition isn't there, you could have a perfect storm, end up with a serious mental illness. So
even good thoughts, you're saying all thoughts are like kind of toxic in a way.
Yeah. Well, in the book, I break it down. There's Santa Claus thoughts and there's Michael Myers thoughts. Santa Claus thoughts are a lot better than Michael Myers thoughts.
Yeah, of course.
That's when you're on the cloud. You're thinking great things. Your ego's boosted a little bit, and you're like, yeah, I'm the man, and I can't wait for later, and I can't wait for this, and I love this, and I love that. But what does Santa Claus and Michael Myers have in common?
They're not real.
They're not real.
Yeah.
They're characters with theme music and all that. So to have the understanding that your brain is pumping out these illusions, it's huge. Just a few weeks ago, I was with my nephew, and we were in the car, and I decided to drop the bomb on him because we were stuck in traffic or something. I said, your thoughts aren't real, right? And he's about to be 11 years old, and he's just looking at me like he's stunned because he's just getting used to thoughts. Thoughts don't kick in until around 5 years old when you start going to kindergarten and stuff. And he's just like, he's giving me this look like, what? And then he goes, nuh-uh. And he points to the sign. We were passing a college. And he goes, no, that's St. Joseph's College. And I know that because I thought it in my head. So now I had to go deeper. I said, no, what you just did is computed. So if you want to get technical, you could break it down into you compute and you dream. You compute and you dream. They're different.
Mm.
When I look at your shirt, my computer says that is blue. That's not a dream.
Yeah.
My computer said so. If a dog were to look at your shirt, it wouldn't be like, homie's wearing blue. It just doesn't go down like that,
No.
you know? That's our human computer.
Mm-hmm.
But dreaming is something different. Dreaming is you start going to the future. You start going to the past. You start thinking about what's for lunch later.
Yeah.
And, you know, anything, I like to say, anything that's more than 10 seconds is a dream.
Interesting.
And when you dream, you're living a lie because it's not real. Now, there are visualization techniques that you can use sometimes to, you know, get an advantage. But you should know that you're using a visualization.
Yeah, I was
You
about
should-
that, like for
It's like when you dress up for Halloween,
Mhm.
you should know you're in a costume.
yeah. Okay. But what about for like affirmations? Is that like a tool?
Yeah.
It's just a tool that people use.
Affirmations is a tool, a great tool. That's reprogramming.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So you got to deprogram
Mhm.
and then reprogram.
And that's a bit of what you do in the.
That's
reversals.
mindfulness training. That's what we do in the program. The only reason why I use the word mindfulness is because it's a hot word.
Yeah.
I would love to call it inner peace training
Mm-hmm.
because that's the goal, is to find inner peace. That's all we're trying to do here, is find inner peace. You're not going to find inner peace if you're dreaming.
Mm-mm.
It's not going to happen. It's not possible. Because if you're dreaming, you're stuck in your head. You're stuck in an illusion. In Eastern culture, it's called the Maya, the illusion. So to understand that you have a computer in your skull and it's all running off of programming, right? Every thought has a root. We talk about root causes all the time.
Oh yeah.
Every thought has a root. So let's say you have a guilt issue and this makes you guilty and that makes you feel guilty. If you're doing mindfulness training properly, then you can evaluate that and get to the root and be like, oh, that's why I feel guilty so much. I get it. Otherwise, you're just living in dream-based reality and you're walking around being triggered in the guilt.
Mm-hmm.
And who wants to live like that? Being guilty, being angry, being sad. It's much better to live with emotional freedom.
Yeah.
Much better. It's a very happy life to be emotionally free, to not be triggered all the time, not be stuck in your head and, you know, dropping things and bumping into walls.
The shade.
You know, and to avoid fear. That's the big one. Fear. Fear is arguably the worst dis-ease there is.
Yeah.
You start getting scared. Where's the money going to come from? You know, what if my loved one dies? What if this? What if that? You know, what if nuclear war happened? What?
Yeah, I know.
What if? What if?
Mhm.
And it just puts a big strain on the body. And so it's best to just live with acceptance and move towards gratitude. And I'll just wrap up by saying that I look at it as a bird called inner peace. And one wing is acceptance, and the other wing is gratitude. And that's how it flies.
Mhm.
And that's sort of a short secret to what the goal is, to have acceptance and gratitude. If you think about acceptance, right? Have you ever made up your mind on something and then a family member or a friend comes to you and tries to convince you otherwise, and you're like, no, I made up my mind.
Yeah.
That's acceptance. You already accepted something, and your mind shifted to a mindset. Nope, I already made up my mind. Think about a relationship. Like, say you put in a lot of thought and you decided you're going to break up with this person.
Mm-hmm.
You already decided. You try to break up with them, and they're like, no, please don't. And you're like, no, I already decided.
Yeah.
That's it's, you made a decision based off of acceptance. When you don't accept, it's resistance.
Mm-hmm.
It's resistance. Now you're fighting with yourself.
Yeah.
And then gratitude is pretty self-explanatory. It's such a great vibration when you feel that. Thankfulness is just, that's what Thanksgiving is supposed to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I'd rather have Thanksgiving all the time. Gratitude is a great, great, great feeling when your vibration just kind of raises and you walk around with that great vibe. And people can feel that great vibe.
I believe it. And I gotta just circle back really quick.
Sure.
You brought up Thanksgiving, and it's funny because
Just don't fry the turkey.
no, don't fry your turkey. Never fry your turkey. You say like it's crazy how Thanksgiving is the only day, probably besides not even Christmas, but Thanksgiving is like truly the only day that it's like dedicated to being thankful. But right after, immediately after, literally a couple hours, you get into one of the most greediest days that.
Yeah.
Well,
Black Friday.
Yeah, Black Friday. Yeah. All of that follows with it.
Yeah, isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Well, a lot of things are hidden in plain sight. The whole thing of the holiday season is it's all meant to be an economy booster. Yeah. It's all meant to be also a mental break for people because you work hard all year and then the New Year's coming and it's winter. Mm-hmm. Okay. I mean, winter isn't easy in a place like Minnesota or, New England to a certain degree. Mm-hmm. And, people need that.
Yeah.
One of the keys to a happy life is when you can look forward to something, which is a dream, by the way. But the powers that be, they know that. So they have to give the people something to look forward to. So when October 1st hits, people start, oh, Halloween's coming, great. They start planning. And then Thanksgiving's coming, great. And then Christmas is coming, great. And New Year's is coming, great.
A little carrot.
Well, the most important thing is mindfulness. Now. And I'll tell you how I got into it a really long time ago is I always had this feeling of how do I want to die? Mm. And what are those last moments going to be like? Because very rarely does somebody die on impact. It's rare.
Yeah.
There's going to be a moment or two. It ain't going to just be dead like you kill a fly.
Yeah.
Right? So my thought, even as a young man, was, what's that going to be like? And then I realized meditation is probably going to be the best way to go.
Mm.
To be very relaxed and to be very calm and be very accepting. Like, oh, okay, this is it. Cool.
Yeah.
And that's it. It's just that simple. And that was one of the driving factors of me getting into this and understanding how the mind works. And once you understand it's a computer, it just makes it so much easier. And I studied every religion. I've studied with gurus, I've studied Eastern traditions up and down.
Mm-hmm.
All of them. Very different than the West.
Yeah.
The conclusion that I've come to is you have a computer in your brain and it spits out data. And it spits out data automatically.
Mm-hmm.
And that's coming from programming that was installed into you from mom, dad, teachers, TV, social media, and to a certain extent, your ancestors. I know from experiences that inner peace is about the best feeling in the world. I mean, it's just glorious.
And I just want to add something before we end. That one thing I noticed from inner peace, because, you bring up religion and spirituality, and it's my sole opinion. It's my opinion that basically anything that a human touches, it's kind of soiled in some way. And especially as time goes on, it increasingly gets more and more soiled. And so what mindfulness helped me understand was how to basically determine what was human and what is God.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So getting to that inner peace at your core, God created you. So, you know when something speaks to your soul and when something is just speaking to your head.
Yes.
And so, in my opinion, that's how mindfulness helped me. It boosted everything.
Yes.
By erasing everything.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, again, mindfulness is inward and God is outward, and they're both important. You got to know when you're going to God or you're going to yourself.
Yeah.
You're going to God or you're going to yourself, but yourself was created by God.
Mm-hmm.
So, by going inward, my feeling is that you're making God proud.
Yeah.
He's like, all right, I designed you that way.
Yeah.
Good for you. A lot of religions call God the Father.
Mm-hmm.
So wouldn't the Father be proud of someone that's advancing themselves?
Yeah.
Someone who does mindfulness training for years and years, they become an advanced human being. It's very hard to manipulate them. It's very hard to scam them. It's hard to make them angry. It's hard to make them sad. They're just advanced. Mm-hmm. And I feel that God, as the Father, would be proud of having a son or a daughter that's advanced.
Yeah.
That's how I look at it. So I think mindfulness training is very important. Not to mention you can heal your body with it on top of the fact. Sprinkle that on top.
Yeah.
And so that's why we teach it in our program.
100%.
Jumpstart your head-to-toe healing journey with the Dr. Reese book trilogy. Peace Over Pain is the cult classic that explains how head-to-toe healing works and how the medical monopoly doesn't. Reverse the Cause lays out the root causes to over 60 chronic conditions. And Dinner with Dr. Reese is a unique cookbook that contains 100 recipes without the destructive pour for foods. Together, all 3 books set you on a path to head-to-toe healing. Get yours today on Amazon, Audible, or peaceoverpain.com. Also, if you'd like to ask a question, tune in every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern for Dr. Reese Live.